Honorable Minister, we just who was here. Sorry. She came, she saw, she conquered, and she left. Really, I don't know. Smriti ji is known for, Bill Gates used to talk, I remember some of his early talks. Business at the speed of thought. What I've seen is, Honorable Minister or Smriti ji, is that governance or decision making at the speed of thought. I have seen in the IIT conferences chaired by President, Honorable President, and as the presentations were going on in the IITs and what should be done, CEO was taking decision on her mobile and they were on the web. So this is called governance at the speed of thought. I think that's what we were looking for. Friends, Honorable Minister has announced some momentous decisions, some paradigm shift decisions, which are in tune with our civilization. That knowledge should be free. Knowledge was given free to all, to the entire humanity, not restricting any boundaries. Now there is an attempt to put this education, the formal education, from school education to the higher education in the MOOC model, massively open online courses, and that decision has been taken. It's a momentous decision for all of us. There are many things which are coming. She mentioned about Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, of which I will just browse on. But before that, I think this morning, the inaugural session of the World Hindu Congress and the articulations which happened there by Param Pavan Dalai Lama ji, by Ashok Singhal ji, and most importantly, by Honorable Mohan Bhagwat ji. To me, when a World Hindu Congress takes place, at a time where we are seeing some paradigm shifts occurring within the nation, it is extremely important, particularly for this education conference, we understand the very meaning of Hinduism. I think if at all we have to convince the new generation. And that's what happened in the inaugural session. I think I was looking for that kind of articulation. Rather than looking at Hinduism as a religion in the traditional sense, well, that will be restricting us, which is not so. If you are talking about the populations of religions, the history of religion, in the traditional religion definition sense, then we are really restricting ourselves. And that's what happened. I think we have gone. I think this definition had to emerge. If we have to talk the re-emergence of a civilization, first, that view, that world view, that civilization view had to occur in that kind of platform. I think this conference, for the first time, according to me, as I am observing, such a definition, such a articulation has occurred. And that's why I think it's a historic moment for our civilization. I feel so. The word Hindu, as we all know, is of recent origin. It comes in the English dictionary in the 19th century. Before that, the Persians and the Arabs, all Hindu and Persians, talked about the people and near, around and beyond Sindhu River. And since they could not pronounce Sindhu, so could not be pronounced correctly in that language, so was pronounced as her, and it became Hindu. So Hindu itself is not a correct connotation, may not be, but that's I think we must accept as a practical reality, but that's how we are identified with. But the connotation is much larger. I think we must, when we talk of re-emergence of civilization, we must admit this is the most ancient civilization of the world. Ours is the most first knowledge-based, Vedic knowledge, not any kind of knowledge, first knowledge-based civilization of the world, which we are talking about today, was knowledge-based economies, knowledge-based world, knowledge-based everything. It was the first knowledge-based civilization of the world. Not any knowledge, but a supreme knowledge, where we are asking fundamental questions, which we are today, even today, with the great universities of the world and the emergent universities of India, we are not asking those questions. First question is, who am I? The question has to understand that, who am I? Why am I here? Do we ask that question? Do we teach that thing? Why are you here today? What is the very purpose of life? Not the purpose of my career, education, this career, that career. So what is the purpose of my life? What is this multifarious world which I experience? What is the nature of that world? What is the nature of that reality? Do we ask that question? Why do you experience pain and pleasure? Why feel exalted and at the next moment down? What is the reason for this? I think these are the fundamental questions asked, which today, in the discipline of humanities or any other discipline, philosophy, we do not ask these questions. These were the first inquiries made. And that's why I'm very proud of this civilization, what you call Vedic civilization, where these questions were asked first and answered, not by anybody else, not by any other books, but by the people who really found those answers through inner inquiries and through intuition and through self-realization. I think we are talking about education of that type, a civilization of that kind. That Hindu is the oldest religion, and in comparison, all other religions, the Christianity, which is the largest religion, or the Islam, or any other religions of the world which followed, by any, or they are of very recent origin. There is a comparison made. If Hinduism is a 100-year history, then what would be the other religions of the world? You can see on the net. But that is not the point. So what is that? In Bharat, the word which you are using repeatedly for Hindustan or for India, which is also not Indian word, the word, there are two meanings. The clans of Bharata, the land of the clans of Bharata. But another meaning is Bha, means knowledge, Prabha, the light of knowledge. Rat means the society, the nation which is joyfully engaged in the pursuit of knowledge. That is Bharat. When you say Bharat, right, everywhere is that Bharat. In that sense, out of the 7 conferences, not that no comparisons made after the exalted presentations or the articulations in the morning, I think this conference is very, very important. Several distinguished people are present here of different experiences. Padma Vibhushan Madhavan Nair, my friend, my son, great accomplishment in the space program, and Padma Vibhushan Dr. Mazumdar sir, several chancellors, vice chancellors, thinkers, thought leaders from school education, vocational education, we are all here. So when we talk about Hindu education, is it a continuation of what we have been doing so far? Which is itself a continuation of what the Western education system, nothing wrong. The first universities got created during 1857, modern universities by Britishers. Few universities, and now we have a large number of universities. large infrastructure in the world, one of the largest ones now in the making. Are we thinking, we need to pause, are we thinking continuation of the same? Is it the purpose of all of us coming to congregating together? Are we talking of some regimes of regulatory frameworks or something like that, what should be done? Yes, it is definitely that, but I think we have to think something beyond that. The Hinduism, or what you call the civilization re-emergence of Bharat, will occur only we think entirely differently. The way our rishis thought about knowledge, and how that knowledge was imparted. What are the methodologies of Upanishadic, the Gurukul system which rose at that time, which was destroyed systematically by Macaulay over the years. What it should be. Somebody has rightly said, when was India the most advanced nation of the world, or civilization of the world? When she created universities, which I think Honorable Minister meant Takshashila and Nalanda, where the people from all over the world came to learn. I think we are talking about, I have to really conclude, I have to say many things, but I will conclude very few minutes. We are talking about creating now, and you are there, we can do that. We are talking about creating an educational framework, starting from preschool, not only preschool, the education in the mother's womb, that was the concept. Education of the parents, people to preschool education, to entire education, higher education. When we create an educational system in which people of the world will recognize that this is an ideal educational system, and we should send our children to India, to these schools. Of course, Indians are everywhere, to such schools and universities where this education is imparted. At that time, I think Hindu civilization would have re-emerged. I think this is the purpose of today's meeting. Let us think. It will not happen just like that. But we can think. The times are right. There is a right way of the governance, I think right vision, where we can at least think of such things. What it should be. I think as he rightly said, the message of education is that what was told by Adharaniya Mohanji was that this message of oneness. Hinduism is not, as the Supreme Court ruled, is not a traditional religion at all. It doesn't have a preceptor, it doesn't have a particular text, a script, particular methodology, particular ritual, particular to, in that sense it is not. But it is the message of oneness of all. Oneness of everything. And that's why I think the Indian civilization envelops, by definition, its civilization entire, it's a Vaishvik civilization. It is a universal civilization. And that is why it's called eternal civilization. It is eternal civilization. There is no definition of a religion itself. It is open architecture. In computing, only open architectures have survived. I'm telling you, Hinduism alone, if you want to use the word Hinduism alone, is an open architecture, way of life, or open architecture, civilization. And that's why it will survive. That's why it will be Sanatana. That's why it can be interpreted by many ways. That's why many religions will be once again absorbed into this. Okay? Friends, I think we are trying to discover. This is the process of discovery of that. And beginning to understand. First, understanding the word of Hinduism. First, understanding the meaning of a knowledge-based civilization. First, understanding the pramanas of knowledge and how this emerged. It was discovered. What are the pramanas of knowledge, like Dalai Lamaji, I think, expressed to us. Different darshanas. First, we have to understand that, and how do we now put together the educational system like that. I think that is the challenge of today. Can we create universities of tomorrow like this? I think one dialogue, and I will end with that. Bharat Ratna Dr. Abdul Kalam is inaugurating an institution in Pune, which we had just developed. He was dedicating to the nation, and he was talking about 2020, the advanced nation of the world, that advanced country. I said, when will we know that India is an advanced country? Because I know that when I was developing a supercomputer, we did not know that it was a supercomputer. People did not accept it. When we will know that India is an advanced country? Only when, I think, the people from Oxford, Cambridge, anywhere, Tokyo, Boston, will come to learn to India. That day will be, I think, India an advanced country. I think we have to create universities of that kind, those schools. That framework. I think I just said this is a wider issue. First, we have to understand the meaning of Hinduism, the architecture of this knowledge system, because the architecture of the knowledge base, the knowledge system of India based on starting of four Vedas and Upavedas and Vedangas and our Darshanas and all that, our Itihas and Dharma Shastras and Puranas. We have to understand the great meaning, profound knowledge system of that. And then we have to develop our education system based on that. Otherwise, we'll be just following that, what we are doing. And we'll live nowhere. We're just following that. We're running it. In science, we are doing it. We're doing it. I feel we have to make a beginning there. And I hope that with so many enlightened people like this, so many private universities, new universities which are coming up, I have put my thoughts together, what should be the architecture of such a system, but that's for some other occasion. So parents, let us resolve to create, once again reclaim that glorious knowledge-based system of the world, which is called universal knowledge, and create universities or education system of that kind. I only pray that this will happen, and this will begin to happen, because our Prime Minister talks of Bharat being Vishwaguru. It will happen only when it becomes really Vishwaguru by this new knowledge system, new education system. Thank you. I wish you all the best, and please, thank you for giving me the opportunity to put my thoughts with you.